Hello everyone, and welcome to my General Hospital YouTube channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Laura's eyes welled up with emotions when she saw a portrait of Bobbie on the hospital's memorial wall. She kissed the tips of her fingers and softly caressed the frame of Bobbie's portrait just as Spencer approached. Laura was overcome with emotion and hugged her grandson tightly. At Harborview Towers, Sam and Dante exited their penthouse and boarded the elevator with a gloomy Sunny. They exchanged modest greetings before entering the elevator together. Maxie was preparing James to help Cody at the stables when Felicia and Anna arrived to pick her up for Bobbie's burial. Everyone was solemn as they hugged. Meanwhile, Jocelyn opened the door to her mother's house and received a distraught Lucas, who explained that he had been in town only 1 hour before. After exchanging embraces with his niece and nephew, Michael expressed his sorrow to his uncle. Carly sat at her vanity in the master bedroom, looking at a snapshot of Bobbie from the nurses' ball. Carly's look was melancholy, and her eyes welled up with tears as she placed down the photos and picked up a necklace to finish preparing for her mother's burial. Shortly after, Carly entered the living room, where Drew was waiting. Just then, Lucas, Michael, and Jocelyn entered the foyer, and Carly raced over to hug her brother. "How are we going to do this?" Carly asked. "I don't know, but we will," Lucas said. When Carly's phone rang, she excused herself and answered. It was Elizabeth. Carly approached Elizabeth in Kelly's garden, which astonished her. Elizabeth carried 2 shattered pieces of Kelly's iconic sign while explaining how it had been knocked down by an overnight storm. Carly was heartbroken since Aunt Ruby had commissioned the hand-painted sign decades ago. Elizabeth informed Carly that she did not need to worry since she would take care of everything. Carly was moved when Elizabeth offered to paint a new sign. Kelly's means a lot to this community, just as Bobbie did. "Just as she always will," Elizabeth stated. Later, Carly arrived at All Saints Chapel, where Drew, Michael, Jocelyn, and Lucas were gathering near the door. She apologized for keeping everyone waiting, but Michael was more concerned with Carly and how she'd been doing. "I'm taking it minute by minute," she said. Lucas instructed her to take it second by second, if necessary. This is what he did. She expressed gratitude to her brother and said it was lovely to see him. Lucas smiled because she'd told him that before. Everyone entered the church, where a giant photo of Bobbie was displayed on an easel stand. White candles were lighted throughout the church as visitors began to arrive. After Carly met Sunny, Dante, and Sam, Dante told her that he had always admired her mother because Bobbie was an amazing person. Sunny waited until Dante and Sam were gone before speaking quietly with Carly. He informed her that he had adored Bobbie and would miss her. When Laura came, Carly and Lucas greeted her. Carly praised Laura for agreeing to deliver Bobbie's eulogy, but Laura argued that Bobbie was like a sister to her. Spencer and Trina extended their condolences to Jocelyn. Trina hugged her friend, and Spencer admitted that Bobbie had always been kind to him. Jocelyn agreed that her grandmother had been kind to everyone until they had gotten on Bobbie's bad side. A little while later, Tracy approached Carly. Tracy choked up with emotion as she recognized Bobbie had been a formidable opponent. Carly thanked Tracy for accompanying Bobbie when she flew to Amsterdam to settle Luke's affairs. Tracy admitted that she had respected Bobbie greatly because she had been devoted to those she loved, particularly Luke. Tracy moved away and noticed Lucy near the entrance. Tracy dashed toward her, but Lucy informed Tracy that she had no intention of arguing with her. Tracy revealed that she approached Lucy and suggested that they call a truce for the day out of respect for Bobbie. Lucy concurred, noting that Bobbie had been Luke's ride or die. Tracy admitted that Luke had experienced a similar experience. Maxie, Felicia, and Anna entered the church and came to a halt when they noticed a giant picture board featuring photos from Bobbie's life. Felicia, in tears, said Bobbie was with BJ and Tony. Maxie claimed to having vivid recollections of her Uncle Tony following the heart transplant, but she knew they couldn't be genuine because she'd been unconscious. Felicia and Anna wanted to know more about Maxie's memories, so she told them that she remembered her uncle putting his head on her chest to hear BJ's heart beating inside. To Maxie's amazement, Felicia verified that it had occurred, and she assured her daughter that the recollection was a blessing. Maxie, Felicia, and Anna walked on when Maxie noticed a stranger in the crowd. The young woman was concentrating on her phone. Meanwhile, Willow welcomed Michael and apologized for being late. Willow added that Monica had been feeling poorly and it had taken some convincing to get her to stay at home. Alexis lit a candle nearby as she and Christina remembered Bobbie, who had been a source of strength and support for Christina during her recovery from an abusive relationship with Kiefer Bauer. Alexis recalled a chat she had with Bobbie in which Bobbie revealed that she had survived both an abusive father and an abusive spouse. Laura checked on Scott elsewhere in the church, but he admitted that when it came time for him to talk about Bobbie, he had no idea what to say. After everyone had taken their seats, Maxie noticed the mysterious woman in the rear of the church. Maxie questioned if Anna recognized the woman, but she had no idea who she was. Anna reminded Maxie that Bobbie had touched too many lives to list, therefore the woman could have been one of his patients. Moments later, everyone stood as Lucas, Michael, Felix, Spencer, Kevin, and Drew carried Bobbie's casket to the front of the church. Carly's eyes filled with new tears as she watched. Laura stood to speak after the priest led the prayer. Laura revealed that she and Bobbie had been friends, not just sisters-in-law. Laura recalls Bobbie always leading from the heart, being dependably cheerful, and seeing the best in everyone. Scott was the next to speak, but he professed to being at a loss for words. How do you memorialize someone as complicated as Bobbie? That's what he said. Scott reminded everyone about Bobbie's diverse network of pals, which included an Aztec princess and fitness guru Richard Simmons. Scott praised Bobbie's kindness and generosity, admitting that he had just recently understood that he and Bobbie were intended to be best friends, despite the fact that he had loved her. Elizabeth followed Scott, admitting that it was no secret that Bobbie had grown up with a lot of hardship, but it had never destroyed her spirit or kept her back. Bobbie, according to Elizabeth, had channeled her past into strength, wisdom, and healing since it was who she was. She was a healer, Elizabeth explained. Elizabeth noted that Bobbie had supported her through many difficult times, and she had always been the first to offer assistance, so Elizabeth wished to honor that legacy and make Bobbie proud. Finally, Carly expressed gratitude to everyone who attended her mother's burial. She choked back tears as she discussed her strained relationship with Bobbie and how she hadn't met her mother until she was an adult. Carly informed everyone that Bobbie had been a fantastic mother who guided and understood her. Carly discussed her mother's acceptance and thanked Bobbie with teaching her to open her own heart. Carly confesses to being a disaster when she first came in Port Charles. "I was a schemer, and not in a good place," Carly admitted. Carly stated that Bobbie was one of the two persons who had made things better for her because her mother was capable of forgiveness and acceptance. Carly agreed that, while she and her mother appeared to be different on the surface, they were actually extremely similar. "I love you, Bobbie Jean Spencer," Carly said. "The world is a very different place without you." As people began to leave the church, Maxie approached the mystery woman to ask how she knew Bobbie. The woman identified herself as Angela Brighton, a AP writer who had been researching a piece about Bobbie. Meanwhile, Lucas paused to burn a candle for his mother. Felix came up to welcome Lucas and express his sympathies. After they hugged, Felix told him about Bobbie from the nurses' ball. Felix recalled Bobbie's tendency to see the sunny side of things, even when things went wrong. Lucas was moved and expressed gratitude to Felix for sharing his recollections. Felicia told Carly that the service had been lovely. Carly praised Felicia for coming and for being a wonderful friend to Bobbie. Maxie and Angela approached them as they were talking. Maxie confessed that she had something essential to tell Carly. Later, Carly, Felicia, Maxie, and Angela were sat inside Kelly's when Angela told how she had met Bobbie. Angela revealed that she had been working in Amsterdam until recently, and that she and Bobbie had been working on a story since Bobbie had been volunteering with a charity. "Your mother was helping young women escape human trafficking," Angela explained to Carly. Carly and Felicia were both startled and had questions. Angela stated that Bobbie had not put herself in danger, but rather utilized her time and money to assist women fleeing Europe and seeking asylum in the United States. According to Angela, Bobbie told her about her teenage years as a prostitute. Bobbie herself was trafficked, Angela explained. Carly, Felicia, and Maxie were astonished when Angela disclosed that Bobbie was working with a young woman at the time of her death. However, Angela had no information about the woman's destiny because Bobbie had not provided the identifier of her organization's point person. Angela went on to say that Bobbie expressed concern for the woman's safety. Carly excused herself and stepped outside for some fresh air after being overwhelmed by what Angela had told her. Felicia soon joined Carly. Carly claimed that everything finally made sense since she couldn't figure out why her mother had taken so long to settle Luke's affairs. Carly understood Bobbie had delayed her return home due to her charitable activity. Carly wanted to know what happened to the young woman, so she decided to speak with Tracy. Tracy eventually arrived at Carly's residence. Carly stated that she had invited Tracy to stop by because she needed her assistance. Carly soon informed Tracy about Bobbie's charitable activity in Amsterdam. Tracy was startled since she had no idea Bobbie was assisting women fleeing human trafficking. Carly and Tracy discussed Bobbie's background with Luke and their Aunt Ruby. Tracy informed Carly that Luke loved his sister and had always attempted to protect her, but Carly questioned this because he had never reported it to the police. Tracy added that in earlier days, Bobbie would have been the one to get in trouble. They didn't know better then, Tracy explained. Carly claimed that they should have. Carly was interested whether Tracy remembered Bobbie mentioning someone she had met. Tracy couldn't recall the name, but she remembered Bobbie talking about Luke's cabin in Ontario. Tracy also revealed that Bobbie would frequently leave on her alone, so she once followed her to a cafe down the street from Luke's apartment. Tracy admitted that Bobbie had been there quite a lot. After Tracy left, Carly declared that she was going to Amsterdam to continue what Bobbie had started by locating the young woman Bobbie had been assisting. Jocelyn and Drew tried to persuade Carly to reconsider, but she was already committed. Felicia remembers speaking with Bobbie outside Kelly's after discovering that Bobbie and Tony had donated Maxie their daughter's heart. Maxie and Angela stepped out to check on Felicia. Felicia forced the thought away and told them, tearfully, that she wished Bobbie understood how much she meant to her and that she would do everything for Bobbie. "I'm sure she did," Angela replied. "I know she did," Maxie said. After Federica opted to walk home, Maxie and Angela returned to their table at Kelly's. Maxie and Angela discussed Angela's report on Bobbie, and Maxie offered to arrange interviews with some of Bobbie's acquaintances. Angela expressed gratitude for Maxie's assistance and agreed to meet Maxie at Kelly's in the morning. Meanwhile, Carly exited her house, but she came to a halt as Federica cried out and approached, pulling a bag behind her. Felicia revealed that Drew had called to tell her of Carly's plans. Carly was astonished when Felicia asked to accompany her to Amsterdam. Felicia felt relieved when Carly agreed. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, so please don't forget to subscribe my channel and don't miss any update.